All right, welcome to another episode of Connecting to Pack. Today, I am joined by Anet Bucilova. Is that the right way of pronouncing it?
Yes.
Okay. Anet Bucilova. Right. So, Anet is a student from the Czech Republic, and she's currently pursuing an undergraduate degree in sociology. And today, we'll talk about her journey in the States, her life back in the Czech Republic, and to understand more about why she chose to show up to the States. So, Annette, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you here, and I would love to first start off with with the question that you probably get asked a lot, and that is why you chose the States. Why did you show up to pursue an undergraduate degree in the United States? So, take us back to perhaps the moment or the time when you realized that this is the path that I want to pursue.
So, it was always my dream to study in the US. I had a dream of being an exchange student in high school. So, my sophomore year of high school back home, I started looking into programs that offer this. And the first, like, very initial thought was because I wanted to do cheerleading here really bad. Because,
Surely.
yes,
Wow.
because I always did cheerleading back home. It's not that popular over there, obviously. We don't have cheerleaders, like, at the games and stuff. We only compete. So it's like the competitive part of it. And I love that sport. And I was always like, wow, like, I was on the national team in the Czech Republic. And I was like, wow, like, how can I move to a better level, you know? And so I was like, I should try doing it in America. And that was the first thought. Then when I got into the process of like, oh, I'm going to be an exchange student, I'm going to have this amazing host family and everything, the dream of cheerleading kind of like fitted out. Like it wasn't that big of a deal because I've learned how much there is to learn during an exchange year and how much there is to gain from that experience. So then I started really being excited about it, and I wasn't even pressuring like the fact of like being a cheerleader, because you can, for exchange year for the program that I did in high school, um it is a program where you just sign up and you go through all of these like English tests and placement tests and everything, and you can't really pick where you're going to be. Like you can pick either like public or private high school, which I picked a public high school. um and then they will just assign you a family that picks you. So you can't pick a state. So you just say, oh, I'm going to America, to the United States. But out of the 50 states, like you don't know if you're going to end up in Nebraska or California. Like you have no idea.
Oh yeah.
So I ended up in Maine, which I absolutely loved. It was the best year of my life. I had an amazing host family, and I did get to do cheer there, but only on the high school level. So it wasn't really what I was looking for from the beginning. But as I said, that I wouldn't change a thing. Like that doesn't matter at all. It was just the first initial thought. It was like, oh, I should be a cheerleader in America. But then there's so much more to this experience is just much more than just about a sport. So yeah, so I was an exchange student my senior year of high school. I wanted to do that during my junior year, but then COVID happened. So I left for my senior year of high school, and my high school back home in Prague, which is where I grew up, uh, told me that I will not be able to graduate since I'm leaving for the year. So I will not be able to graduate in their school if I don't complete another year. So I
Oh.
was kind of like, oh, like, I don't know if I want to come back. I also never really liked the education system in the Czech Republic. It is very old. Um, we learned the same stuff as my parents did in high school, which is a long time ago. And, you know, like our history books are not updated. So we like don't learn about the World War II and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't learn about the World War II?
No, we get past the like end of World War I. I would say like that's where we stop. The education system is just really old. I don't really enjoy it. It's like
That's crazy.
it's based on like more punishment than like being told that we're doing good, you know. Um, so it is very demotivating. I never really liked school back home, and then when I moved to Maine, I loved school. I loved waking up. I loved going to school, having all the extra activities. And, you know, I did cheerleading there and field hockey and tennis and theater and student government. Like, I did everything that I could. And it was the best year of my life because I had so many things to look forward to, not just the school itself, but it made school fun because I was surrounded by so many people who enjoyed these things with me, and it was just an incredible
Wow.
experience.
So that would be when you were perhaps 16 or even 17,
I was
right?
I was 18. I was 18
Oh, okay. So
because we studied for 13 years in the Czech Republic. So my
yeah.
senior year, I was 18.
So would that be considered a first ever experience leaving the Czech
Hmm.
Republic and go, wow, how are you feeling about it? Like in in the first like the first couple of days the moment when you were, traveling, leaving, like how did that feel to be just leaving home and just going abroad, maybe without any family members traveling with you? How did that feel?
Well, exactly as you said, it was my first time traveling alone. So because before that, like I've traveled plenty of times. My parents mm, travel a lot. They always took me and my younger brother with us. So it's like I've traveled before many times, but this was my first time ever when I had to sit on a plane on my own and fly to the other side of the world, and it was the scariest thing ever because
Gosh.
I'm really afraid of flying too. So when people are asking me like, Ned, what are you most scared of for the whole year? I was always like, oh, the first flight. It's so scary. It was scary. It was like being at the airport, saying bye to my parents. Like I didn't want to make the step. I was standing there. We were all crying. We were hugging. Um, and it was so hard to like go past the security and just wave at them. Bye. I'll see you in 10 months. So it was, it was definitely the hardest
Yeah.
thing so far that I've done probably.
I could totally understand that. I remember my first experience being somewhat similar back when I left Libya to start school in Lebanon. I was 17 at that time, so it was it was certainly hard, when you're at
Yeah.
that young age and you're about to embark on a journey on your own. But I am very glad to hear that that the year was filled with not just academic like not with just being immersed in the academics world or in the academic world rather, but also in the extracurricular activities world. And you said how you were in student government, in tennis, or and
Tennis, field hockey, cheerleading, theater. I did the
wow,
musical. I don't sing, but I did the musical because it was so fun. We did Grease that year. So I was like, I
Greece.
have to do
Okay.
Grease.
So what were you? What was your role in Greece?
Oh, I was Patty. She's the mean cheerleader. So
That's so hilarious. So, how did you manage to be so busy doing extracurricular activities, but maintaining like a healthy balance with like your personal life or with your social life, rather? Was it difficult to kind of balance all these things?
um well, I think I'm pretty well like trained, let's say, from Czech Republic because our school system is just so strict and so heavy. Like even in middle school, it is a big like workload at once, and then like high school was even harder because so the system just very easily said, but the system is that we have to apply to go to high school. It's not like our middle school would continue to high school. We have to apply, and based on how you do on these standardized tests,
Yeah.
which like are supposed to tell your intelligence, but it's really just about how lucky you are that day. Um, Based on that, they will place you into a high school that you picked. You have two picks. You can pick your number one and number two choice, and then like if you do really well, you will get into like I got into both of my high schools. So then I went to my number one choice. But if you do poorly, most of the schools will be like, oh no, like we don't want that student, and then you will end up in like lower level high school because we have like different levels of high schools. You have the highest level, which is called gymnasium. Doesn't have to do anything with sports,
Is that a
but
Czech sort of word or?
I think it's all over Europe. Like I know
Okay.
in Italy they call it like liceo.
Litzau.
Like it's a similar. It's yeah. I know in
Gymnasium.
Germany they call it gymnasium too. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So that's how it's called. It's like the highest level education you can get in on a high school level. It's a very general education. You have like I had 20 classes a year. Like it's like you have physics, chemistry, bio every year, and then three social science. It's like you have a lot. And I also went to a private school which was taught half in English, half in Czech. So it was another thing on top of that. So like I was really busy in high school back home with just like, going to school. Like it was majority of my day. I was in school from like 8 to 4 every day.
Mm.
And then when I came to Maine, the school was only from like 8 to 2, and then sports in the afternoon and everything. And I only had like 5 classes a day and a break in the middle. So it wasn't as like time consuming. And since I was really used to um like do something all the time, all day long, like wake up at 6 and get into the bed at like 10, like I was used to that. So for me, honestly, like the American system is like very much more relaxing. So like I had plenty of energy to do other stuff.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. I never really I never got to experience high school abroad or even spending a year abroad. This is very very different than the way my high school was oriented. That's just so crazy, like to have that many opportunities
Yeah.
and to be immersed in different activities. That's just Did it get overwhelming at times? Did you feel like you had you were just stretching yourself too thin?
Yeah. It did get overwhelming, but I also did it with my best friends.
Hmm.
So like I was extremely lucky during that 1 year in Maine, because the whole friend group that I was a part of, which was a friend group of my host sister,
Okay.
we all got along extremely well, and I was just really, really lucky that they took me in, and like I was a part of them, and they were the best people I've ever met. It was just the
Wow.
best year of my life. And exactly like as you said, it's just there were so many opportunities. I couldn't say no. I couldn't be like, no, I don't want to do theater because I would be too busy. I would rather be too busy than like not to get the chance to be in Greece, Like that's just so awesome.
Yeah, I think I would say I pursued a similar path when I did an exchange semester here in the States. I remember, the university that I was in had so many different clubs and student led organizations that I wanted to be part of. And I even joined an Irish dance club, you know? And I was performing in front of like an audience, and it felt surreal. But at the same time, like when the opportunity knocks on your door, you just gotta capitalize on it. You gotta, you gotta
Yeah.
strike the iron while it's hot. And I'm glad you did that. That's what makes the experience memorable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And like also during that year, I really had like no worries because like as I said, like I was only taking like 5 classes, which I'm not gonna say that they were easy because I was taking some AP classes, and I know a lot of people outside of the US say that education in the US is easy.
Hmm.
I personally think it can be, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
If you take AP classes, those are tough.
Ooh.
It's not an easy class. If you take a regular class in American public high school, then yes, it is very easy. But I just hate when people like come to me and are like, "Oh yeah, you study in America because it's easier." Doesn't have to be. Like it can be, but that's what it is here. Like it's all about your choices and opportunities.
Yeah.
In the Czech Republic, you don't get those opportunities. You are placed into a high school based on one score that you got on this one test that you took once. Some schools count in the grades from the past, but some like don't. And like I, for example, did an interview for my high school too, because since it was an English speaking high school for half Czech, half English, they wanted to, hear our English and everything. So like I did an interview too and everything, but most high schools don't do that. So they will just place you like based on that one test, and you don't get any other opportunity to grow.
Mm.
So I really like how the system is here, that like the education is not only education. Like you have so many other things you can try in the academic environment, and yeah.
Yeah. And would you say that being in a university level right now, that it's very similar in terms of the amount of opportunities that are available to you, or is there some I guess difference?
Yeah. So I think there is a difference because you just have to work harder here. In high school, if you sign up for a musical, you will probably get in. But in here, our theater program is extremely selective. So
Oh.
it's just like, this is a huge state university. So, like, obviously, it's going to be harder to get into these things than it was in high school. But I do think that the system is super similar. That's why I decided to stay for university, because during my exchange year in Maine, um, I was applying to universities just for fun. I was just like, I want to try it.
Just
All
for fun.
all of my friends are seniors, or all they're all applying. They're all talking about this common app thing. So I was like, I'll try it. And I was like, I don't have the finances for it. I can't leave my family for 4 years. Like, I was like, this is insane. I can't do that. But then when I was in the process and I saw the applications and I saw all the schools emailing me, we want you. And like, they actually were excited to have the students. I was like, wow, like I feel wanted. Like, I feel good.
Mhm.
And, then I was applying to schools and the acceptance letters started coming in and everything. And I was like, wow, like those schools are offering me money because they want me. Like, that is insane.
Wow.
So then I just decided like that, it doesn't have to be, I realized that it doesn't have to be painful to go to school, because this was always a thought in my head back home. Like, yeah, like I will go to university and I will hate it. But I realized that, wow, like actually those people want me to go, and they actually like they care about the students and everything. So I was like, wow, maybe there is another way how to, enjoy those 4 years of my life. So then I decided to, yeah, I picked NC State. It's like it was a very random decision, I would say. It's just I never dreamt of like, oh, I'm gonna be part of the Wolfpack ones, but
Yeah.
it just happened to be the best option for so many reasons. The diversity we have here. NC State has a great experience with international students, and study abroad in general. It's just a great environment. I'm glad I picked this school.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm sure you made the right decision, and I'm sure you're learning a lot from your experience here.
yeah,
I mean, it's your second year, right?
my second year.
Wow, time flies.
Mm-hmm.
So what sort of how would you say this experience is being in a university in the U.S.? How would you say that is different from the experience of your friends who are studying in universities in the Czech Republic? I think we've spoken before about Charles University, for
Mm-hmm.
example. That's a prominent university in the Czech Republic. So, how would you think your experience differs from someone, say, pursuing an undergraduate degree in Charles University?
Well, this is really only for my friends because, like, as I said, I've never went to a university in Czech Republic, so I can't compare it myself. But um, I would say most of my friends do like it. But the biggest difference is that they don't have any um like work during the school year, so they have classes that they can attend. They don't have to. Uh, Usually, if like you want to do well, you will attend them. But I do know some of my friends who just don't go to class, and then they just have to study for this final exam, which is like basically your whole grade. It's like it's called like the finals term, and it's happening in January and February. So you go to school from like September till like January, and then January, February you have finals, and so you have to like do these like both written and oral finals for your classes. And so it just sounds like 2 months of hell for me. Like I'm really glad I have the opportunity to write essays and do homeworks in the middle, and then my whole grade doesn't depend on just one final at the end. But yeah, they also don't have any extracurricular activities. Like our universities don't have sports. Like that's not a thing. That's just an American and probably Canadian.
Mm.
Maybe in the UK.
I don't know about the UK, but I know about
Where-
America.
Yeah, where they have sports in school. We don't have that at all. There may be some student government, but definitely it's not comparable to all the opportunities that are here in the States, where you can join a varsity sport, you can join a club sport, you can do anything. That there's a club for anything you possibly can think about. And if there's not, you can create one.
Right.
So,
I kind of to add to that, I remember when I did an exchange semester here in the States, there was a club called the Winchester Club, and it was all about this series called Supernatural. And the people in the club loved the series so much that they created
oh my God.
a club dedicated to the series where they would watch episodes every now and again together. So
Yeah.
that
I
was
know there are
hilarious.
clubs like that just like share passion for something.
Mm.
But I think majority of the clubs that we have here are actually like one of the most beneficial things you can have for your future. Like if you join, like I joined rowing club last semester.
Oh,
So much fun. Like I loved it. It's amazing sport. The team is amazing. 100% recommend. But then there are some clubs that are actually like teaching people what they don't learn in class. Like skills for life and stuff. And it's incredible that this is all happening in the like academic environment around people you know um who just want to be better. They just want to
right.
learn something new. They just want to leave with more than just what they have to. So
Yeah. No, that's what I like about the college environment here. But I also like the fact that, again, I think you've mentioned that before, the diversity and just the sheer volume of the international student
mhm.
body. It's just that you meet so many interesting people you would have never thought you would meet, and you probably wouldn't uh, encounter if you were or if I were to stay in my home country and pursue an education there. So that's what I appreciate about this environment, and I also appreciate that they have um, they have a lot to offer. There's so much that they could do and offer to the school and to the field of study that they're pursuing. I would love to know now, explore with you maybe the connections you've made to the with the international students. Are there any from Czech Republic? Are there any from, say, neighboring European countries that you've built a network with?
So
Um,
know I am pretty sure I am the only student from Czech Republic who's here for 4 years. If I'm
oh,
wrong, I don't know about another person, but I do know that we always have an exchange student from Czech Republic. So my freshman year, there was one guy from Czech Republic. I actually met with him. We got lunch. Then last semester there was another guy from Czech Republic, and then this semester there's this girl. I got coffee with her. So they are here for like one semester, but I
okay.
am pretty sure, or I haven't met yet anybody who would be here like a full-time student pursuing a degree from NC State University.
Oh,
So
so even in the Czech Republic, you guys have this program of this exchange
hmm,
program going to the States.
yeah.
So it's not unconventional for someone from Czech Republic to go to the States for like a semester or 4 years.
No, I think a lot of people do it for a semester exactly because it is financially really hard to go for a full 4 years.
Yeah.
It's also a decision you have to make very early. Like I was lucky that I started my application like my senior year because most students, Americans, they usually start their college applications earlier and if they really want to get into, their dream and good school, they just um work on the application longer and they really prepare for that. So it's not like it can't be really a quick decision. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why people usually prefer like exchange years because it's hard to realize what you want when you're 18. Like you like I am more like a go with the flow
Yeah.
person. So that's why this all like kind of worked out for me because I'm just taking opportunities that come on the way. I know a lot of people who are from Europe and they are like, you know, studying their entire life just to be students in like Yale or Harvard. So it's like some people do have these dreams and they really push so hard and they make it work and it's amazing. For me it was more like, oh, this would be awesome. Oh, it worked out. Like it's just kind of life happens and I just do whatever I feel like doing.
Yeah.
Um but it is like if I was an exchange student in high school, I probably wouldn't make the decision of coming here because I would be too scared because I wouldn't know how it works. And 4 years is a big commitment.
It
So that's
is.
why I think a lot of students pick just an exchange year because they're like, oh, I'm just like gonna stay in Prague for university. Obviously, why would I go somewhere else? Like people, I don't think a lot of people think about moving out of their country that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's not comfortable to be outside of your comfort zone.
yeah.
Yeah. So how do you how for example, how did you sort of adapt to the American culture? Was it similar in a way? Were there stark differences? was it a gradual process? Walk me through your sort of journey of trying to adapt to the culture.
So I was always, as I said in the beginning, studying in the U.S. was always my dream. I just had like this connection to um, this country.
Hmm.
Um, my parents love this country. They did travel through the West Coast in
Oh,
like the 90s. So like it was a different time,
right.
but it was always like, like we only live once. Like, why would I not do it if I can?
Hmm.
So I always really wanted to move here, at least for the 1 year in high school. I also always really enjoyed studying in English. That's why I picked the high school that I picked because, and then luckily got into, because I just really enjoyed learning English, studying in English, and everything. Um, so then when I moved here for the exchange year, I didn't really like struggle with neither language or like the cultural differences because since I was like kind of obsessed with America, I kind of knew what I was going into.
Right.
Like I did a lot of research on like everything about it. So there were definitely things that surprised me, but I'm just saying that I think I wasn't as culturally shocked as if I didn't know that much about it. But then the thing that like helped me the most was my host family
Hmm.
because they were absolutely amazing and they were proud Americans. They used to be in the Air Force.
Oh, Patriots,
So
eh?
so they were an amazing family and they helped me with everything. Like everything you can possibly think of. They helped me with that. They helped me with my Common App application. They helped me with just anything that happened to me. They were there for me. So they really made the transition process much easier. Also, my host sister, she was we were the same in the same grade. So, I could ask her about anything because she was like doing the same things as like applying to college and everything. We were in some similar classes. So, um, that just made it much easier not being just on my own, having somebody who was kind of like told to take care of me because that's
Yeah.
what those families are for. So that was that was such a like smooth transition into living in America, like being on my own but still, let's say, like raised by someone for a year.
Right. Right. Yeah. I'm just glad that it went as smooth as butter, as they say.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there were struggles, but I don't even remember them by now. Like, I
Hmm.
have only good memories of that year, and if there were struggles, they were never that big that it would like push me away from wanting to stay. So,
Right. I like that. So now that we're approaching the end of our conversation together, I would love to know if there are certain lessons, so some takeaway, maybe lessons from your experience so far. Maybe it's just something you've given some thought, maybe you haven't, but maybe you can share with us a couple of things that kind of stand out about this college experience that you've had so far in the States.
um, I would say don't give up because my freshman year was definitely tough, definitely harder than even my exchange year, mostly because I was on my own fully. So it was a big transition from like a very comfortable experience in Maine, in a host family, in a friend group that I fit in, into a huge state school, where it
Yeah.
was harder to find friends. I was fully on my own, no parents, just like it's little things, but when you add them up, it created a really tough environment to be in. So my freshman year was a really, really hard time. Sophomore year is amazing. Got much better because now I know where I am, what I'm doing. I know what major I'm pursuing and everything. So now it is definitely better. But so I would say don't give up, even if it's really hard from the beginning. Um, it's just gonna get better.
Hmm.
I promise.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Uh, and I think I've had something similar back when I was, when I first started undergrad as a like an international student. So that's certainly something that resonates with me as well. Yeah, don't give up. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Annette. It was a pleasure having you here
Thank
and
you.
learning more about your experience. I'm glad we got a chance to do this.
I'm glad to. Thank you.